Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today I'd like to take some time to talk about focus spells and how they're changing in the Pathfinder 2e Remaster. Focus spells are easily one of my favorite new additions to 2e as a whole, and I'm really happy with the changes that, they're making in the Remaster. They're going to be making the system a hell of a lot more like how people think it actually works, and in general, it's just going to help people do cool stuff at the table and have fun while doing it. For the record, that means that they're good changes. First off, a quick rundown of what focus points are if you're new to 2e. Basically, every spellcasting class in the game, and some non-spellcasting classes, gain focus spells which are specific to that class, known as focus spells. Rather than being cast from spell slots like normal spells, focus spells are cast using up a resource called focus points. You recover these focus points by spending 10 minutes to refocus in some way, such as a cleric praying to their god for 10 minutes to get back a focus point. So focus spells are a replenishable resource that allows for you to use cool, flavorful magic spells all day long. Focus points and focus spells are great, but they are pretty clunky as they currently work. Depending on where you're getting your focus spell from, you may or may not actually increase the maximum number of focus points in your focus pool. And for some reason, the maximum number of focus points that you can have is 3. Additionally, you'd think that refocusing would be as simple as just spending 10 minutes to get a focus point back. However, that's probably the one rule that people mess up the most in the entire game. You actually have to spend a focus point before you're able to refocus again. So, yeah, if you spend 2 focus points in a fight, spending 20 minutes after that fight to refocus to get both points back isn't actually allowed, unless you have some 12th or 18th level feats. Focus points are great, but a lot of the way that they seem like they should work just isn't how they actually work. In the remaster, Paizo's changing a bit of how they work. First off, every time that you learn a new focus spell, you increase the maximum number of focus points you have. And there isn't a limit to the amount of focus points that you can ever have in your pool. If you know 5 focus spells, you have a maximum of 5 focus points. This rewards characters who really want to lean into using focus spells by actually letting them use more focus spells at once, because they've got a larger pool. And I'm a big fan of letting people, actually be good at the stuff they want to specialize in. The second change is also really simple. You can refocus whenever you're missing a focus point, whether or not you've spent a focus point since the last time that you refocused. Seeing as this is how already half of the people who play 2e play using focus points, I'm so glad that this is getting adjusted. It's pretty damn clear that this is how most people want to play anyway, so it was a bit of a silly and kind of unnecessary rule. Plus, Paizo explicitly gave the example that if you worship a god of healing and get focus spells from them, then you can refocus while treating your allies' wounds, which also makes refocusing for players so much more accessible by actually letting them multitask while doing it. The last change to focus spells is similarly straightforward and also makes people's lives easier. Basically, every class who has a focus spell has a feat at level 12 and level 18 that lets them get more points back whenever they refocus. Paizo is changing the level 12 feat so that it refills your entire focus pool whenever you refocus, and they're changing the level 18 feat so that it doesn't exist. This is going to let characters with 5 different focus spells known actually use 5 focus spells in a fight without having to get the party to stop for 50 minutes to fully recover after every fight, which is really just great. As is most likely obvious, I think that this is a good change that makes the system a lot more intuitive. I'm not of the opinion that Paizo is also going to be buffing focus spells themselves on top of these changes, and I'm perfectly alright with that. These spells are going to allow for focus spells to be used more often, and I'm fine with that, seeing as they're the replenishable magical resource in the game. Having them be able to be used more frequently is just, it makes sense. It does make me really curious to see how they're going to be changing the Oracle though, seeing as Oracles are really not capable of spamming their focus spells like every other class. Either way, I'm really, really glad that Paizo's making adjustments that actually make sense and make the game easier to learn and play for everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm really looking forward to the playtest for the new classes that's going to be coming out sometime soon, and I have no idea what they're going to be. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the focus spell changes? Let me know in a comment down below, and while you're down there, you can always consider subscribing to the channel or joining up as a member or something. I've been really busy lately, but my members help out a lot with letting me spend a bit more time on this fun little hobby of mine. Regardless, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.